So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all our beautiful viewers around the globe. And thank you again for tuning into us here at Intimate Conversations. If you feel the urge to subscribe to my YouTube channel, the Intimate Conversations channel, and yeah, go for that and go for gold and sharing it and putting it out there and spreading the word about these beautiful pioneers who have been holding the light over this time and this lifetime in particular. So today's guest with me here is the beautiful Poppy Joy. I just love Poppy and her work, and we live in the same town, same area, and it's been lovely to be a part of your journey through life in this lifetime here at this moment anyway, Poppy, and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, I remember meeting you back and going through a cancer healing journey, and you were very instrumental with that and part of that journey, and it was a lovely connect with you back then.
Yes, it so was. That was a
crazy
little time.
Oh yeah.
It was so cool. Anyway, what I'll do now is I'll just introduce you to everyone. So Poppy Joy, kia ora ite whānau, born in Tapanui, where the flu comes from in New Zealand. Poppy was born into some extremely challenging life experiences. Challenges have a flip side, and they opened up extrasensory abilities from a young age, and also suppression that has taken her lifetime to clear. It's still a work in progress. The challenges relate to what humanity is to break free from in order to ascend with the earth as one. Life experiences have exposed agendas that have harnessed the planet and are also exposing the way for people to transcend them. Divine guidance and protection have saved Poppy's life many, many times whilst facing life events that most people would judge as dangerous. She was able to access healing and knowledge for this pivotal time in our collective human experiences. Poppy has qualifications in counselling, life coaching, breath work, traditional herbal medicine, small group facilitation and communication. However, life experiences have been the greatest teacher. Poppy has memory of other planetary ascension eras, has a divine connection with Papatuanuku, our Earth Mother, and has been a way shower since becoming reacquainted in shamanic ceremony. She is aware that all humans have the ability to draw upon knowledge and ancient memory and would love to share her discoveries with others to inspire and encourage. And that is why she has offered her sharing for free. It's for the love of every living thing. Her main liberating discovery has been the connection with true time and knowing time as frequencies that energize natural growth and evolution. Beautiful, Poppy. And I do love keeping up with my own readings and things and the information that come through from there. They're pretty onto it. And I don't know about you at the moment, but reading for me, my eyes are not right at the moment. Honestly, I have to really concentrate on what I'm looking at. Just over this last bit of a shift we've been in for the last week or so.
Yes.
But yeah, your time on the planet, I know it's been very challenging and very interesting, I think, for us in this pioneer, we in this age group really are the pioneers that have come in, and we did have a lot to move ourselves through because we had such deep entrenched stuff from many, many, many lifetimes. We're old souls, been here many times. So getting all that out was a bit of a mission. But were you an aware child when you were younger, do you feel?
I believe that I was an aware child, and I had a very early major traumatic experience, which I believe was a near-death experience. And in that near-death experience, which was in the most traumatic scenario, there was this amazing golden light, which I only reconnected again when I was talking to an expert in the field of the abuse. And we recognised that I was saved, absolutely saved from the divine presence. And I think when you die, you see everything differently afterwards. And I've had 2 near-death experiences in my life. And the other thing that happened as a child as a result of that, so there was injuries, and my sight and my hearing never developed as they would normally, probably from the traumatic incident. But what they did is they kept me in the energetic perception. So I see energy at the same, and I hear energy. And I mean, there's been damage which is still being repaired right to the end, but it was a major thing that I know I took it on as my part in the great liberation that we're coming to, where we are creating a new earth reality where we will have that joy, that freedom, that balance and harmony and peace again. So
Absolutely.
I was sort of, as a child, just speaking my reality as we do, just in conversation, you talk about things, and then I would say things that just absolutely freaked people out, and I had no idea, and they would go, no, that's not right. And so because of what happened to me, so I was raised in a programmed, kind of controlled way. I was constantly no, wrong. So I doubted who I was. I just didn't know. Because I thought everything I say, everything I see seems to be wrong according to what the adults around me were telling me. And so I tried to comply, and I only had my outlets, or my freedom and my peace and my sanctity in nature. So that was a natural go-to. I mean, as a child, you don't think about it. You just go out, I'd go out and play with the snails in the creek. I had a relationship with these snails in the creek. I used to look forward to going home from school so that I could go and just play with them and watch them make the little tracks and the, slime on the pipes, and, and just be, because I would just be in wonder. And also, now realizing that I'm nature too. Of course, I was in touch with myself in those moments, but at school and in the home and in most places, I was very disassociated from my body. I was out the window with birds up the tree. And constantly getting into trouble for dreaming and drifting off, and because I actually just couldn't handle it in the programming, because I guess I'd had this divine experience, and somewhere in me there was a guidance system, and school to me was a very hostile place. Not many, in fact, I didn't have anyone that understood me, really. There was no friends. There was sort of there was bullying and violence that came from my mother, my father, and my older brother, and then I was the next one. So I was just ducking and diving, and but the thing was, I feel like I still had some kind of guidance that protected me from some things. And then I was also very exposed to some really extreme things. And I think I will say it because it's what's lying at the bottom of this whole last 3 years to me. And what I've been aware of, because of what happened to me, most people were aware of a disease. But I was aware of an agenda that was underneath that disease, and that was how the ones that would call themselves the elite people in this world got their energy. And it was, through child sacrifice and things like that. And as a child, I found out, and it's been, years and years and years and years of regression to put all the pieces together to what I know now. That my parents were blackmailed, and I was sold into a satanic ritual. And that was where, and I think I must have been somewhere between the ages of 15 months and 2. I know that there wasn't leaves on the trees at that time, because I can just remember seeing a moon through the trees.
Okay, yeah.
And then I developed this terrible connection with the moon. The moon would just trigger me all my life, and I just didn't want to be around full moons and all of this sort of things. I had to make friends, just because that meant I was going into huge danger. So I was being taken somewhere, but I won't go into the details of that, because I've spent all my life really putting it to rest, to the point where I can see the big picture and I can be grateful for all the experiences that I've had.
Yeah.
Because looking at the Mayan calendar, which has been another thing which has really helped me, based on Dr. Carl Kellerman's research about the different waves that we have, the different eras that we evolve through, and that every era, the frequency picks up times 20. So there's this perfect geometrical patterns in the whole calendar. So we had an era of duality where it came in after a very shamanic era, which started around about 3112 BC. Now, I'm not sure if I got that date exactly right, around that date. And in that time, what happened was humanity was coming out of just the pure nature experience of shamanic relating intelligence to a mental time. So actually the time frequencies change, and that changes how we receive things in our brain. So we went from being very much frontal lobe in that shamanic era into being very left-brained, which meant it was very black and white. It was very about right and wrong, good and bad. The Babylonian slave driving system was ushered in, slavery started, humanity could work for gold, and competition, and that where some people win and other people lose came in, and it came in with science, but a science that was very intellectual, very mental. So in the shamanic way, it's very visionary. Like you and I, we see visions, like, and we see the light. We can see more sometimes with our eyes closed. Than open. And those images I've discovered are truth. We can really see what's true. Whereas when we go into mental cognition and everything, there's so much room for deception and hiding and covering over and covert. But this era was really important for humanity's development. And the most rugged and tough and challenging, because it was separation really from divinity and nature. So the mind started to take humanity more and more into what we call civilization. Colonization was happening all around the world. There was battles for owning and possessing our beautiful Mother Earth.
I know. Yep.
Religions formed that were very punitive or behaviorist, and Roman law was installed, which put things into the letter of the law, and spell casting. And we know the power of the words. The power of the words really set things in place. Like really dark things, like paper bills were written on sacrificed human flesh, things like this. So it was put in very powerful rituals. So the flip side of what we do is then we come back into ourselves and into the fullness of, just being one with divinity. Is our frequency is much, much higher than that. So much higher than that. So I just because what's happened to me, I have this word ritual over here and this word ceremony over here.
Yes.
So I now seek and live a ceremonial life. And my words that I put forth are, like every word is a spell. So I want to put them forth with responsibility. So, I meditate, I connect with Papatūānuku every day since I had an experience with her in the 31st of October, 2015.
Wow.
I met her, totally met her. And it changed my life forever, because I was disassociated. I was disconnected from her. I was very miserable.
Yeah.
And she told me so many divine truths about myself. Now, I had a terrible self-esteem. It just wasn't there, like there was an attempt to kill me at a young age.
Yes. Gosh. It would have been a biggie, like actual biggie to get through for sure.
Yeah. So I feel like I've been able to build myself with Papatūānuku firstly, and then now I'm starting to really stream with Ranganui, and that the two, us as the conduits between the two, is just that
Beautiful way.
Yeah, and that's when we can feel bliss in our being. We're still getting around and living our lives and we're going in and out, but I could say I'm probably addicted to meditation.
Yeah.
Like when life gets too busy or there's too many things around, I just want to get into my quiet time and be with the earth. We close our eyes, we see, like this morning, my meditation, I just feel so amazing. I guess I can't do routine, I think, because ritual was a part, but I just intuitively have a rhythm, I guess, that includes meditation and clearing and nature and it's just like recently I stumbled upon the strong messages about being in a state of grace. And so I started to communicate about being in the state of grace, because when we're in the state of grace, that's when we can actually create and change and affect our whole reality here to be so much more balanced, so much more harmonious. The magic that happens around us, like I before we used to plan our days. It's very difficult to plan a day now.
It is. Even a workshop in a month or something, it's like, oh, really? It's like, I just want to go, right, let's do it right now and put the word out, and if whoever turns up, turns up. It's like that. It's so there. Yeah,
and it's really quite beautiful because it's like so much more purposeful.
Yes.
Because when they all turn up at that workshop, it's like, it's actually like divinely orchestrated. It's like, I think it always was.
Yes, it definitely. Yeah.
Because even the interferences that were there was part of our consciousness, showing us where we need to tweak our program. And illness and sickness in the body. I've had a lot because it was big stuff and the body can't handle, and so it will file things away into the cellular memory until it's safe to let it up and we can actually pass through. And there seems to be a really divine timing for everything. Like there's a cosmic consciousness that we're a part of, and like even the time frequencies, the time waves that come from us, we all receive them at the same time. It can be a little bit different just geographically, like in astrology, like America it's got the spotlight on them at the moment because of the Pluto or whatever. It's a little bit same, I think, when the cosmic waves hit. So with it's cosmology, so it's seen very much as the energies that actually arrive from the cosmic axis, that like it's time that's seeded from Ranganui, from the heart of the sky, connecting with the earth. And this is a divine union of response, those, and or interaction. So we may all just find that we all have a breakthrough all together in our personal lives, whatever it is that we are, whatever part it is that we took on.
Yes.
Everybody has taken on a part. We are all one. We are our universes interacting with other universes in the universe. The words cannot describe it.
No, that's the thing, isn't it? Putting it into this language, it just is quite difficult sometimes. Describing energy, anyway, for me is, and I remember when I was getting prompted to set up healing courses, run healing courses and teach that, and it was like, how do I word all of this that I've experienced?
Yes.
How do I put that into word? Because it seemed like it didn't match this language. It just doesn't. But we did it. It was a bit of a mission, but we did it in a basic enough way that people got it and things. And it's interesting, you talk about meditation. I remember years and years ago, Poppy, my guidance and everyone was saying, do this regularly, meditate, sit every day. And I'm going, oh, it's just the fashion, like everyone's doing it. I don't want to follow the fashion. And I was really resistant. And then it was my youngest daughter was only 6 months old. And so she was having a morning sleep every morning. And I thought, okay, I'm going to dedicate that time. When she's in having her morning sleep, I'll sit and meditate. And man, as soon as I made that decision and dedicated that time, they were right here with me, all my guidance, and they were showing me so clearly, like looking eyes open, was how clearly I was getting the images in there. And oh my goodness, the strength that came from that and the strength of those visions, the information just got stronger and clearer and clearer, and wow, blew me away. And from there on, it was like, okay, I get it. I get why we do it regularly and why we actually discipline ourselves with it.
Yeah.
Such a powerful thing.
And it's interesting. A friend just put me onto Nassim Hara, can't remember his name properly, but I watched this movie she gave me, and it said we need to disconnect to reconnect.
Yes, so that. Yes.
Yeah, because you'll only get the true information in that space, like in connection with nature. We are nature.
Yes.
And seeing the energy, seeing that. And so even just this last week, I got totally overwhelmed with downloads that came in from my meditation.
They were full on. Yes.
And I'm so excited because I did this art piece a while ago, and in it I put this gold and silver DNA reaching right up to the sun. And I didn't really quite understand what it meant. And then it's funny, I have problems reading, but I can read things if they are true, because the energy is clear on the page.
Yes.
And I read this book called The Cosmic Serpent, which I was really guided to read. And then I had this whole knowing about mind cosmology and everything. And then I was reading, and then I suddenly saw it all. I like with interacting with their information, my information, that what DNA is light.
Yes.
It's light. and they say like that we've got like 97% of our DNA, they call it junk DNA, and now I realize it's everything that is on our DNA. And if you stretched our DNA out, it goes billions and billions of kilometers or right up, right to the heart of fire the sky.
Right.
So shaman in shamanic ceremony, which was how I got initiated into meeting Papatūānuku in the first place, you see like these sky ladders, and it's your DNA.
Yes,
or
yes.
these serpents, and it's like time moves in waves and spirals. It's not linear. I kind of still cringe every time I hear this word timeline. I kind of know, well, that's not it, because it's linear. So I think what it is that there's one true time, and that's coming straight from the axis mundi, or the cosmic axis, and it's reaching the planet, and it's a relationship, it's a connection, it's just so divine.
Yes.
Oh gosh, where was I going with that?
Poppy, would you say that's the vortex? Do you know what I mean? When you come into that alignment, when you're truly in alignment with that energy in that space, there is no time. You're right in this present moment right now. And that's when I can quantum leap when I'm driving.
Yes, yes, we can go anywhere in time.
Yes.
That's because our frequencies are up there. And eventually we won't experience the bindings of time that we have experienced here. But a lot of it's to do with people's consciousness. So they think time is a clock thing. It's it's Greenwich Mean Time, and it's just such an illusion. It really should have another name, or maybe we should have another name for the other, but whatever.
Yeah, I get it.
It's really used, but people go, oh, I'm changing timelines, and we're jumping timelines, and we're doing this. Well, then what I'm seeing is we got time spiraling like this, and they go, oh, I'm changing timelines, chung, I'm changing timelines, chung, but they're actually darting off onto a linear time construct. Where I think the challenge is stay with true time, flow, surf those cosmic waves, and like the energies are mighty, they're incredible, and it's like an ocean. It's like being on an ocean. We can surf the waves, we can ride them by not judging them. We go, right, this is a big one, and I'm going to catch this way, and it's like all actually intuitive and natural and all that anyway. Otherwise we'll be drowning, we'll be sinking, we'll be flaying, we'll be fighting. So we have to flow and to come into this trust and this faith. Well, it is actually very divine. It's divine time.
It is. And the way I was being shown, and still do get shown in sittings with people, is that when the in the way that I explain it, so the way that I see these is like I get slithers, like a Venetian blind going this way instead of that way. So it's slithers of energy timelines is what I call them, where they have now created something into being. It's coming in. It's already starting to formulate and coming in. When they've unplugged and they're not into that there anymore, and they've gone on to something much more amazing. These segments of their timeline creations, which are in linear time, but they're still in an ether as such. They haven't created into form here yet and taken place. I see when they pull that energy out, what we're doing is we're not empowering it to be there any longer. Our energy's gone into something else. These dissolve, and it's like a dissolving that I see them happening. So that's the sort of thing you're talking about, and like, well, I don't know, we're probably seeing different things, but the same. As such.
Well, the thing is that we see that in reality, because we're seeing it, in vision, and we're seeing it, or sometimes we're feeling it. all our senses can be engaged with different senses, and that is so true. And that like the way I just explained that, the way you explained that, those are both absolutely so true.
Yeah.
And what we need to see. But the thing is that there's no right and wrong.
No.
And this is so liberating. Like sometimes I've written and I might have talked about things like, I know I've had to heal my relationship with the moon, as well. But, there's flip sides to the moon. Like the moon has been used to radiate Saturn's rings and keep consciousness at a lower vibration using the alien technology that is there.
Yes. Yeah.
And so I might state that as a fact, but I'm not hating it. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying this, it's just like information that may help us to
That's right.
deconstruct.
Yes.
Deconstruct, just like those blinds. It's like
Yep.
they're getting deconstructed and then they don't hold their power anymore. And like it's just one great big purification. It's a massive purification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is when we think about these last 3 years, and I keep referring to them because they're now like this, this marker point, really.
Yeah.
And there was so much we all got out of it, even though some of it was horrendous and we went through some pretty dark rabbit holes. But we got through and we came out the other side, and we always knew we were going to win this as such. And there again, to me, that's all separation speak as well, because it's them and us and all that. But that's the world that it's in that space. And that's the same thing that I see now. I see that if we unplug ourselves from it and not pay it any attention, not give it any energy at all, this will just dissolve away. It's how we work, it's how we are. This is our world. And so for me, my purpose has always been is about redirecting. And I always said through the COVID time, I did say out loud, what the hell is my purpose in this? And then next minute I was just directing, and I thought, that's me. I'm the powerhouse over here. If anyone's interested, come over this way and see what else, And that was really where I held things for me anyway, and what I was here to do, as I had been doing all my life. Really, when I looked at it, it was like, well, that's always been my thing. But it was so relevant in that time, and now even more so. I'm like, no, unplug there and come over here, direct it somewhere else, create your reality now, because it's not here, it's not cemented in. We have so much potential in this moment.
Like along the course of my trajectory, I even met someone who challenged me. He challenged me because he started to talk about physical immortality. And I'm like, everybody thinks that, they say there's two things that are certain in life, death and taxes. I'm sure that's a program, by the way.
So would be. Definitely.
I thought, I've just got to look at this. And really what it was about belief. About belief. And so, like, I'm actually youthing at the moment. I'm getting younger. And it's to do with belief, and also knowing that that's what we're going into.
Yeah.
We have so much more lightness in our bodies and freedom. I've been healing everything that has come up in my body, like twisted spine, everything. Like, I've actually had huge healing issues, which were amazing because there was nowhere to go except my bed, and that was a great meditation space. So I had nothing but meditation at some time. So, like, even if that was, I had an agreement with divinity that I was going to be put to bed so that I would reconnect. Like, sometimes when I've looked and go, why did this happen? What did this happen? Like I said to my father, he's in spirit now. Why did this happen? Why did you do this? And he said, look at who you've become. And I got it. I just got it. and things
Beautiful.
are still like that. There's still a challenge, you know, and I'll sort of like, my psyche wants to spit the dummy for a little bit and go, this isn't fair, this isn't fair. And then I, in my meditation, oh, I see, thank you. Whew, all that relief in my body. I've just let that
Yes.
go. Just let it go.
And it was very easy. I know, you know, again, these last few years, I just went into victim a lot.
Yeah.
It was like, holy moly, here I am, I'm a victim. Get out of there. Like, you know, what are you doing in there?
Yeah.
And this one day, you know, I was in this space and there was days where I had huge purging, and it wasn't just mine. There was just no way that it was all mine. It was for the planet, for humanity, all of those things.
Yes.
And I'm all good with that. I've done that all my life. But these were big, like really big, and they did last for like a whole afternoon or a whole day. It wasn't like just a couple of hours or an hour and you were through it. It was like, whoa, let's just keep going and going.
Yeah.
Pummeling my body, like really. But anyway, through all that, and I've forgotten where I was heading now with that. But anyway, there were times that were just so and going into that victim, that's right. And then what I was shown, again, it was like coming out, seeing it from Hawke, you know, looking down into it and onto it. And that all these people that were in our government and that were playing all this out, they were up on a stage, acting out a play. You know, and again, I go, yes, of course, we know this. Just keep reminding yourself, this is what's happening. These people are playing their part in a very big orchestrated way for all of us, as we were too. And every single person on the planet was playing out this part with everyone else. And it was what you did with it. It was actually what you did with it was that got you through.
It brought up
how you reacted or didn't react.
Brought up the fear of death, the fear of imprisonment, it brought up all the fears, everything that was still left in our being that needed to heal. Like, what a gift, you know. And I could see, I could see that. But yeah, like you, because you're such an empath, I could feel the different consciousness pulls.
Yes, gosh.
And in the meditation, I think, you know, and this is what I know Tapanui, who does this too. She's going, you know, she's experiencing all our consciousness pools, and, you know, like they're all interacting together. And sometimes it was so dense, you know, that, you know, like we'd be purging it out of our bodies. Yes, we do it on behalf because we love that much. We love so much. And to the point, you know, like where, I know I've got my leg on the line, you know, like if I didn't know I was divinely protected and guided, well, you know, just wait for the assassins to come, you know, because actually they have actually tried with me. There's been multiple brushes with death, which of course, and that was the original trauma. So I guess I was going to keep presenting that until I worked it through every way. So you start to understand from such the big picture. So we become perceptive, observant, you know, we just look and we watch, and, you know, like we start to lose the emotional impact, because the governments or you know, the ones, they're amazing, and I'm grateful to them because they bring up all our fears.
They do.
You know? And I watch people constantly, you know, and then I feel like, well, you know, I can actually just talk with them, and you can get back down to them. You can get to the person's fear, you know, you can go, you can see where they're at, and then, you know, and then the next thing there's a way that they can start to handle it. You find the trauma under there, or they can, and some people choose to and some people don't. And and, you know, like, you know, we've been worried about losing loved ones and friends, and we have lost loved ones and friends. I've lost someone to the first jab in the shower heart attack straight away. And you know, like, and, you know, family and all of these things. And And you just realize this is such a soul experience. Who am I to judge? And I've got amazing friends that were totally blackmailed, and they're doing so incredibly well, and they have found their remedies, and they are onto it, and they are cruising
beautiful
cosmic way. They are not cut off. And yet then I see other people that, you know, they've cut off, and I'm observing it. Yeah, I feel some grief. I let that pass through me. I'll bring it up and I'll pass it through my heart. And but this is a great big soul journey. And I think 3 years ago, before it happened, is that when the original people were at Uluru, and they did a navel umbilicus reconnection series.
Was to activate the solar plexus, I think, too, at some point.
I can't remember what it was, but I was aware it was happening. And then when I went into meditation, because I always go with Papatuanuku, she connected me with it. She showed visions back then, and that was before we knew about lockdowns. I mean, I knew that there was going to be a program because I'd been in touch with the noms for a long time, and they were pulling out all this information and saying, this is what's coming and this is the plan. It's like, and I was thinking, no, we got to it's not going to get that bad. It's not going to get that bad, but it did. Anyway,
it's outrageous.
I had visions when the beautiful grandmothers did the ceremony, and I saw it was like the earth was in a funnel, and she was almost stuck, and she was sort of going around like this, and she was connected to an old umbilicus that went down, and it had got, like, you know, that bull kelp, that seaweed but it's very woody, and it had got really old, and it was ready to go, and that happened. And then I saw this other one come down, and it was like filled with light, and like this beautiful plasma light, and I guess it was just full of photons and everything that our DNA is made of. It was amazing. And it started, and it was like she started to lift up, and then I saw all this snow going down towards the old umbilicus, and I'd had a friend who had passed over, and I saw her going up to the high, you know, up there, and she was like, this friend she was the most amazing herbalist, and she'd helped so many people. She was so connected with the earth and everything, and she was like going up that direction. And then I was talking with a guy who was a tōhunga one day, and I was saying, this is what I saw, and then I saw the snow, and suddenly I got this vision of the snowflakes, and what I saw were these beings, and they were like cocooned in like a silkwormy type of thing, and they were totally at peace, and they were like souls that had passed on. They looked a little bit like Brays.
Yes.
And they were going back down to like an old earth reality. So there is, and I think it's happening that, and I've had other visions of this other planet that's out there. When my mum departed, she went through that portal.
Right.
And I think that portal is for those whose souls are still choosing to stay and needing the experience of duality for a lot longer.
Right.
And we have a pure solar sun, and the souls go up through that are kind of ascending. And I just see the Earth's trajectory, and there's a lot of protection around her, and it's like she's even gone through some piece of technology, or I don't know if she's gone through, because you know how visions you're timeless. I don't know if we've got there yet.
Yes.
Or there if we're after that. But there's probably we're before it, because it was almost like this machinery, this technology gets shattered at some point.
Right. Yeah.
And you know, like, I can only say what I see in my vision, because it's really, once we start interpreting, we can go too far. And
exactly. Yeah.
I'm trying to fit where it's at, because I already maybe start to draw a few little conclusions from my own visions. But I will share visions with people because I want to say we are going to make it through. We are to keep doing your work. you know, that this, and, you know, the Mayan calendar's been amazing, because in 2011, and that period and all around that 2012 time, we changed, our brain started to change back into the frontal lobe again, so that we go into unity consciousness. But we're going into unity consciousness with the benefit of everything that we have learned from the extreme duality experiences of the last 5 millennia.
Yes, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And, you know, like, so I just like celebrate every single person, because every single person, every time they have a breakthrough, every time they realize everything is affecting the whole unified quantum field.
Yeah.
And we're all valuable, we're all needed, every single one.
Absolutely. And the day that I realized too that when I do something in this body here, shift something, transmute it, heal it, that is also taking place in Papatuanuku, in her body, because we are one, we are the same body. And that was just like, right. And knowing that this also was shifting those that were in connection to that within my body, was also shifting them. And that was just that was me. It was like, come on, I just couldn't get enough of doing clearing work and healing, and and learned so much about energy and about the way that we work in that way, and how it does work, in our cells, and repairing 2 broken toes in a 20-minute process, and that there, I mean, my students at that time witnessing and going, oh my God, this is what you talk about. And I said, exactly, this is exactly what we're able to do, and more, and more.
Like we're still only just seeing the tip of the iceberg of what we're capable of.
That's what's exciting, because it's like, what else have we got?
Like I know, like, that this interview will be published further down the track, but what's coming up in the next few days is that we're going to go into a tracina called the water tracina, and this is the most sensitive tracina there is. Water holds all memory. It's all through the mycelium, which connects every tree, connects everything. The waters of Papatuanuku hold everything. We're all that, and this is the gift. So a lot of empathic people and very shamanic or spiritual people have sort of resented that gift sometimes, but that sensitivity is amazing when we can bring it with that observation without getting drowned in the emotional drama. But when we can go like that sensitivity, I believe our telepathy will be enhanced in the next 2 weeks. Our vision, everything that we see, our ancient remembrance, all these things are just going to be enhanced, because those will be the energies that will be coming in during time. But also, this window is quite a challenging shake-up energy, and there's a lot of justice that's coming, and we bring it through. We as we interact, we do that. So when I had my initial, I call it my initiation with Papatuanuku now, because I asked to meet her. I said, I want to meet you, I want to know you. And I asked, and the first visions that I saw were just vines going up to the heavens, and then I was so aware of her. And she was like, she just held the space. She just wanted me to feel her. And I was just like feeling her and feeling total bliss, like absolute total bliss. And it was like there was kind of, the third eye, the third ear thing going on.
Yes.
and I was, like I trying to interpret what I saw, which won't do it justice, but she was so happy so happy to meet me. It's like, oh, long lost. Oh, here we are. We finally connected, you know.
Beautiful.
And she was like, and she took me on a journey, and I believe she took me into like her higher heart chakra. It must be her crystalline core. It's the center. It was liquid. It was like an opalescent lake.
Yes.
And she would like swim. And so I was just like moving, and I was swimming through this lake, and I was feeling, and what I realized, that I was in a field of every experience that I'd ever had, every experience everybody else had ever had. I was in the all.
Yeah.
And was in perfect balance and harmony. Okay, so we've got everything in there, from you know, if we were looking at it right and wrong, you know, from the, okay, let's look at it in frequency, from the lowest vibrating frequency to the highest. But when it came into balance and harmony, the whole frequency is bliss.
Yes, it is.
And so she showed me that, and that prepared me to be able to accept all the things that we, you know, that people get terribly upset about now. And I have too, you know, because I'd been an activist and, you know, all of these things. But and then she said to me, you and I know this is true for, it's true for everyone, but it depends whether people take it on.
Yeah.
You and I are healing the same things at the same time right now. And this was October the 31st, 2015. We're working on our uterus.
Right. Yeah.
And I could feel the energy in my uterus, and I could feel healing taking place in there, right then and there.
Yeah.
And she's been amazing, because I wasn't fully connected with true time for a while. Like, I went looking outside, and I was still looking outside, and I'd come across what I thought was the Mayan calendar, but it was actually something that had been taken from the Mayan calendar and reformatted around the moon, and which was terrible injustice to the Mayan elders to actually take true time and set it on a different path. But you know, I was quite upset about that. But you know, then that's another thing. That's another thing we can observe and be with. But I will, you know, say, well, this is true time, and this is where we're going. So I was, you know, I've been in a process of purification myself. The more I purified, the higher my frequency has got, the more I've been able to drop illusions and interferences and themes, because there's a lot of themes out there, and even in the new age world, which makes it hard for us to speak our language and for it to be taken seriously, because love and light is bandied out there like anything.
Yes.
But love and light, oh my gosh, it's everything.
It is. It is.
But it can sound so trite.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, so
it's all sort of been made too fluffy, eh? You know,
yeah.
the woo-woo and the fluffy stuff, I call it. But yeah. I get it.
Yeah, so I've been refining myself, purifying myself, and in the process, someone said to me once, no, this isn't the Mayan calendar, and they put me in connection, and I fortunately I had the humility at that time to go along and look at it, but a lot of people that were in that dream spell are very invested in it, and will stay there, and that's fine, that's their choice. But my whole world changed when I connected in with true time. Sean Caulfield became my mentor for a while, and he's in South Africa, and I went over there and visited him and learned, and I ended up dancing trance dance with the San and the Bushmen and the Kalahari. It was like the most amazing.
Saw some of those photos, beautiful. What an experience, Poppy, to go there.
I know. I felt yes, but my life changed from there. Like, I was actually saying to my dream spell colleagues, I was saying, what's wrong with this calendar? There's something wrong with this calendar. I'm looking at this, I'm looking at that. And they said, try this, try that. And I was like, oh, and it wasn't working. And then all at the same time. And then Sean comes along and he introduced me, and he was so gracious, so humble, such a beautiful man, you know, like, and he really helped connect me. And he said, your whole world's going to go cosmic now. And I didn't know what it meant. I didn't know what it meant back then. So if you don't know what cosmic means, anyone who's listening, just say, yes, I want things to go cosmic, and your life will be great. Because you bring in the invitations, invite yourself into that cosmic reality. Because and watch your misery and your suffering drop away from you, and you'll be guided, you'll be connected, because it's about divine will, that it's about divine time to me, but it's also about divine will. When humanity operates in separation, when we look at the pollution on our planet, when we look at everything else, that's the result. And coming back into unity consciousness is about coming back into divine will and being absolutely connected with Tapanui and Ranganui and one. We're conduits, like we are what marries them, in a sense. It's like, I mean, they are here. Like when see those auroras, I see their dance. I see their dance. That's their connection dance of just this light, and it's like celebration.
Beautiful way. I know this. I've decided a long time ago that I wasn't leaving this earth until I was very old, ancient, but knowing that age wasn't going to show in here, wasn't going to show up here. We were going to be actually becoming younger, and growing backwards in age, youth, and just that there's such a love I have for this planet, as you do, and for her and her body and herself, and it's like I just don't want to leave her. It's like I just love this place so much. And it was really interesting about, I don't know whether it was when we were in the first lockdown or before that even came in, and there was a transferring of, for me, there felt like, gosh, this new earth, because I had a experience down at the Four Winds Temple site, and that opalescence energy is the one that's actually the final ray as such to come in, that's going to really indicate the new earth as such. And she was, so I was this conduit. This energy just came powered through me from way up high. I was trying to see how high while I was in it, and it was like, the old Highlander movies where they had the quickening when they took the head off the opponent, and the quickening, the energy, all the energy from that person went to this person, and it was like this quickening. Well, that's what it was like. This energy was pummeling down through me, and I looked down beneath me and into the lakes underneath the waterways, and was told that this energy was going through all the water throughout New Zealand and spreading through into the other world, basically. We totally, it was huge. And when I asked, what is this? I got new earth energy. It was the new codes coming in and anchoring that through. And it was profound being at the Four Winds Temple site. Anyway, there was a big, long story to that, and it was pretty incredible and amazing and all the rest of it. But what happened too was I kept getting told that it was going to be needing to be anchored over into the Northern Hemisphere. And I was actually in communication with some Norwegian ladies, and these women anchored it in one evening, really randomly. It wasn't even, I hadn't said anything. It all just occurred. This whole thing divinely unfolded. And when I told them the story after it had all happened, because they were saying, we have to take this call up the mountain, where they were up the mountain. And we have to take this call up there. And I sort of thought, oh, okay, this is all a bit different, go with it. And next minute, man, this stuff started happening. And I said to them afterwards, my story, and I said, and I truly believe this is what's just happened here. Well, because why also was these women were describing all the Māori that had come through, all these elders and their kurawais, and there was just this hugeness to it. And I just knew instantly, as I'm going goosebumps now, I was getting goosebumps then, which indicates truth for me. So this happened, and what I knew then was that there was definitely this energy had come in. And in 2012, August the 4th it was, I've got it all. I took photos. I was told to go out when I was up the mountain there, up the hill, and I was told to go out and take a photo of the moon. And in my resistance, well, take that away. It's comfortable on my couch. So anyway, I go outside, I take photos, and it wasn't till I uploaded them to the computer that I actually saw this purple orb that was moving its way towards the moon as I was taking more and more photos. And then eventually it was like a planet Earth sitting beside the moon, purple. You could see the outline of the lands. I've got the photo, I've blown it up. It's amazing. When I asked, what is this? They said New Earth. It's her higher body, her higher spiritual body. So when there was a time frame for me in that whole process before, and when I think the woman had anchored this in Norway, that I tuned in with Papa. And for me, I could never get her name as Gaia. It just never fitted for me. And that it was always Mother Earth or Papatūānuku. But anyway, when I started calling her Gaia and coming into it with everyone else, I went in this day and tuned into her, and I started having this conversation, and I said, oh, wow, look at you. And here she was. She came through as this really vivacious, young, like, oh my God, energy. And I said, whoa. And she goes, yes, you can now refer to me as Lady Gaia. It's like, wow. And there was this energy with her that was so exciting and new, young, vibrant, like Mother Earth had rebirthed, and here she was in this awesome young energy that was just so vibrant and vivacious. It was like she was ready for, let's go. It was so cool.
So
and her messages were very, very, very encouraging, and energy. It was the energy that got me. She was, oh God, alive, like really alive. Not the wounded mother.
Like the Gaia who had been wounded came alive. Yes. Oh my God, that's so beautiful. I'm so happy you shared with me with that, because I never used to be able to say Gaia either. So it's been Papatūānuku, Mother Earth, Pachamama, which is, Espanol. And but that's amazing.
I know, it was so exciting. I was very I have to say.
A friend of mine in Sweden had that image too, of the playful, young, vivacious.
Oh, really? Yes, cool.
I remember her sharing that with me, and because it was different. It was like suddenly that's her now. And it was just amazing.
Cool, eh? So I giggle now because her energy is fun, loving, and giggly. She's joyful and loving. Oh my God, it's just so cool. So different energy altogether. It's lovely.
Yeah, and she has no expectation. Like there's been several times, because I've been healing and working on my frequency and everything. I used to receive a lot of psychic attack with what I wrote, and I put things out, and maybe it was even because I still putting it out quite dualistically a lot too, and it's been all part of the learning process. But there were times my health was just, and I just thought, I don't know if I can live, and I got specific guidance. I had many followers, and I had a great big audience at one time. And one day when I was in meditation, she said to me, delete your Facebook account, get off. And I'm like, and I went, okay. And so I didn't write for a while. I gave it, and then it was right. And then it was like after a couple of months or whatever it was, she said, okay, it's time to start writing again. And so I started a whole new account, sort of retrieved a few friends, but in fact, in doing that, it was like a clearing away. And
and
now I used to sort of put my stuff into lots of different groups, and I thought, well, people have had plenty of chance to connect with it now. If they want to, they can come to me. But I've kept it quite small, because I know that whoever receives that, it's for them. It's like, because we are, like you dropped your goodness into my lap when I came to see you when I had cancer, and I had the journey therapy, and we did a card reading, and you were so accurate. know, and these things are like, they're like ripples that keep rippling. And I found out the other day that if you throw a handful of stones, each ripple keeps its own ripple thing.
Yes.
Another ripple doesn't affect, you know, like the ripples might be different overall, but that ripple keeps going out. It goes out and out and out and out.
Yeah.
And so we're all causing different ripple effects from different people in the whole field. And some people are connecting with this and other people are connecting with that. And sometimes it's a matter of language. And ultimately, when people come and they find themselves, you know.
Yes.
Because what I needed to do was take myself away from all external. I got a guidance quite a while ago to take myself away from all external research, all external things. You know, even your interviews, other people's interviews, people, I look every now and then. If I got a very strong guidance at something, I'd see something, and I went and I started spending more time in my own meditation, more time in nature.
Yeah.
And it got clearer and clearer and finer and truer. And so, you know, now I'm encouraging people, that's where it's at. Like there's information out there that might connect us, but to come in here, like on our DNA, we are like a universe. How can we not love ourselves? We are absolutely miraculous.
We are.
The light that is in our being it's like my universe is interacting with your universe, with all these, it's all one, but it's the same, and it's almost like we're a fractal or something. And so I'm focusing on this little part in my universe, and you're focusing on this part in your universe, and where the attention is, like we're all doing, which makes us so incredibly diverse. And
absolutely.
And that when we can express our diversity, our authenticity, and we say yes to this because it's a definite yes in our being, that's when we will come into divine, into that harmony, balance.
Absolutely. And that's in that healing journey that you were speaking about of yourself and that cancer, that night, I remember the next morning, there was a healing night at my house, and the next morning I received that email from you. You know, what the fuck happened at your healing night last night was the first sentence, and I just giggled. But what happened for me there was I went to nucleus, and in that space I was the center of my universe. Everything disappeared. I was this galactic cosmic universe, and I was the center of that. And in that space I sent you, and there was another one on the healing list, that energy, and I could feel and know the sense of everybody in the room. There was 15 odd people in the house. They were all feeling something, and one girl said, you know, what the fuck's happening? And a friend of mine way over in the corner, which I was so thankful for, said, you know, that's Mandy teaching. And I thought, oh, thank God. I was out there. I got everything that was happening, and it was just amazing. But I knew in that moment, there was no questioning for me after that. I knew exactly what was said, in the sense that we are the center of our universe. I got that. I knew that before, but this, I'd experienced it in that moment. It was so. And when I came back in, it took a while for me to come back into body. And when I did, this woman was standing holding my hand, crying her eyes out. And I said to her, what are you up to, Jen? Why are you crying? She said, I thought you were never coming back. She thought I'd just gone. That was me. I'm not coming back into body again. But it was amazing. And I know, you know, I'd healed my toes before that. That was something that I just knew. It's like something that I just absolutely know we can do this stuff. And we are the healer of our own body. We create everything in it. What goes wrong with it, if we call it wrong. And so therefore we have the absolute power to release that, heal it, and create new. So this time right now, Poppy, we've got to finish up now, which has gone so fast. I've loved it. And I just, you know, now, like we're saying, you know, your name, even the joy Poppy Joy, you know, you
Yep.
just pop joy, you do, you know, watch
I
you,
gave myself that name.
yeah, but you do that, you know, and I will say it again, you pop joy. I
Yeah.
see you out there, you're just such a joyful energy, and I love it. And this year is, like I keep saying, is for fun and joy. It's bringing back that igniting the joy chakra within us and getting things going on. And the healing of the uterus and the womb is that creative center, you know, it's letting go of all the old creations we might have brought in that weren't and aren't in alignment with us now. So
Yeah.
it's like, yay, bring that on. Let's get going and get
Yeah.
this new world planted in here. Like, we're here now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
We're
already
doing
here, doing it.
it.
Absolutely.
All of you people listening, we're all doing it. We're all
We
doing
are. Yeah,
it. Thank you. Thank you to everyone out there that's
absolutely.
like, we're on this together. It's amazing. And you know, like, come to know myself, come to know nature, I come to know you. I come to see
Yes.
you, you know.
Mm,
It's miraculous. Thank you,
it
Mandy,
is.
so much for this
Thank
interview.
you so much, Poppy. It's such a beautiful honor to be here with you on this journey. And I just love it. Love you very much, and all the very, very best for everything you're doing, and much love to you always.
You too. You too.
Thank you.